trucks. We think it's because Chevrolets are
the most dependable.
This is the history of the 1967 through 1972 Chevrolet CK trucks. The classic car enthusiast often overlooks trucks as the entry point into classic car ownership, and while interest has picked up in the past few years, there are still quite a few affordable options that have mostly gone unnoticed by auctioneers. The 1967 through 1972 Chevrolet CK is one of the most popular, reliable, and easiest to drive classic pickups you can find. This particular generation marks the turning point when Chevy realized it could offer truck buyers modern conveniences and comfort options in the same way it did sedan shoppers. A stunningly simple connection to make in retrospect, but one that blew the market wide open during a time when primary rival Ford steadfastly refusing to build anything other than the most utilitarian models for work use. The end result was a sales phenomenon that would see GM prolong its dominance over the blue oval well into the mid-70s, pushing millions of examples of this generation of truck out of the factories and onto the roads, farm fields, and dusty barns. The 1968 through 72 CK proved that you didn't have to suffer a tin can cabin or a kidney-busting ride to get the job done. Flash forward to today, and Chevrolet's past progressive attitude has paid significant dividends for collectors. The driver-friendly nature of these trucks stands in stark contrast to both their predecessors and their contemporaries. The enormous production run guarantees no shortage of drivers or restoration candidates, and their dead simple mechanicals make them inexpensive to maintain and even easier to update to more modern running gear. Have we mentioned that it won't cost you much to step onto the C10 Tilt-A-World? A good driver quality 67 with a 6-cylinder engine trades in the neighborhood of $7,500. But if you want a V8, it's typically only a couple of $1,000s more. Even the best 1972 V8 truck is gonna set you back a modest $35,000. Man, that's for a showroom quality completely stock example. In between and of course hovering above are a myriad of customs, remods, and rat rods beckoning for you to park them in your driveway. When this particular generation of CK appeared towards the tail end of the 1960s, Chevrolet still considered its pickup program to be a commercial effort, with the vehicles aimed primarily at tradespeople, businesses, and farms. This explains in part why there was so many of these trucks built, more than 2 million half-tons alone, with a sizable number of 3/4 and full-ton heavy-duty trucks on top of that number. Models that, like the GMC branded C1500, K1500, are similar in many ways, but which are outside the scope of this buying guide. This abundance of volume has proved a good thing, because as with many working for a living trucks, there's been a significant rate of attrition over the past 50 years or so. Examples were driven into the ground by owners who viewed them as no more than means to an end. In terms of rarity, if such a term can be applied to a vehicle whose assembly line never cranked out fewer than 290,000 examples a year, 1967 and 1971 are the least common, and 1969 the most common, with more than 400,000 being built, followed closely by 390,000 in 1972. However, 1967 also represented a sea of change in the corporate thinking at Chevrolet, when it made a strong play to convince truck buyers that they could outfit their beasts of burden with the kind of comforts required to use them as daily transportation. As a result, the sheer variety and splendor of the CK is unmatched for its era of pickups, with a startling number of options, drivetrains, and body styles available for mixing and matching. Colors were also sufficiently rainbow-like. 15 different choices in the first year alone, 20 in the second, and nearly 30 in the third, not including two-tone schemes and various sticker packages. The result is that uncommon variants and option combinations of the CK have attracted the strongest interest from the market. Drawing the most dollars are the short bed variants of the pickup. Despite being a single generation of vehicle, The 6-year span saw a number of styling changes and updates made to the pickup, typically in 2-year increments. 1967 models are recognizable by their low-angle hoods, rectangular grille openings, with the parking lights embedded on either side and the bow tie logo at the corner. This is also the only year that a small rear window cab was available versus the larger window found with all other CKs. 1968 trucks are very similar, but they added side marker lights, front and rear, due to federal regulations that went into effect immediately after the pickup introduction, leaving designers no choice but to tack them on. 1969 saw the introduction of a steeper hood angle, the word Chevrolet spelled out on a center grille bar, and the bow tie logo moving to the middle of the hood's leading edge. This was also the first year for the egg crate grille. 1970 is a dead ringer for 69, with the addition of painted vertical grille bars. 1971 goes all in on the egg crate grille design, pasting the Chevy logo in the middle and banishing the horizontal bar. Parking lights migrate to the bumper, while a black frame is drawn around the grille itself. 1972 deletes the black grille line, but maintains the status quo elsewhere in terms of exterior design. There were also 2 different box styles available: fleet side, which is the long and smooth look, and step side, which features bulging external wheel wells. Buyers could choose between wood and steel bed bottoms. Just like the trend of slicing inches off a long box to make it a short box, there have also been periods where the step side became the CK to own, resulting in many conversions from fleet side models. Wood kits are readily available, which makes it easy to transform a steel bed too. As with all things from this era of Chevy pickup, the word original is hard to police and doesn't necessarily hold the same currency as it does in other collector spheres. Trim levels for the Chevrolet truck included base, custom, CST, custom sport truck, Cheyenne, Cheyenne Super, and the Cheyenne Highlander. It's hard to think of a more novice-friendly classic vehicle than the 1967 through 72 Chevrolet CK. There were so many different versions built that best meets your needs and desires is relatively easy. The fact that so many of these vehicles have strayed far from their original spec, and that there's no real CK template for originality, as with other collector cars, also means you can largely avoid the purist police should you choose to modernize your pickup for better performance or easier day-to-day use. Second-generation CK trucks aren't just an affordable, comfortable, and stylish way to sample the world of classic vehicles. They're also an important pivot point in the world of pickups that represents a clear link between the Hyperlux models available today and the Spartan workhorses of old. Well, there you have it, the history of the 1967 through 1972 Chevrolet CK pickup truck. What was your favorite year?